All right, good evening, everyone. This is Warren Harper, Magic Man 50, and City Jazz Sessions Season 2, Episode 10, here with Leon Davis, and we have Joe Hanrahan from the Midnight Company. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you. Hi to both of you. Yeah.
Hey, how you doing, Joe?
Good. You guys good.
Well, let's get right into it. You're working on a project, and this project features the character and the music of Linda Ronstadt. Just one look. Let's tell us how it got came to be, and tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah. You guys are aware of the project I did last year, St. Louis Woman,
Hmm.
with Leica, and in doing so, I got to see some cabaret, and I became kind of intrigued with the use of live music in theater. And so I started thinking about it. And then there was a woman, Kelly Howe, that I directed in a play last summer called Rodney's Wife. And we were talking one night, and I mentioned that Leica, she's been singing around the country, and she sang in New York at a cabaret space called Don't Tell Mamas. And Kelly Howe said, "Well, I worked there a couple of years when I was in New York. I was a singing bartender, waitress. They have a piano bar, and I sang a lot there. And I'd like to do a cabaret sometime." And I said, "Well, let's think about it." We separated, and then we came back, and we both had the same name. Linda Ronstadt was someone she loved and wanted to do, and Linda Ronstadt was somebody I thought Kelly could do. Not only sing, but she looks like her. And I loved Ronstadt too, so that's where it started. And then we talked with Jim Dolan at the Blue Strawberry, and we both have a kind of a common goal of trying to inject more theater into cabaret, more of a theatrical dynamic to just more of a simple cabaret show, and that's what we're attempting to do.
All right, awesome. I was listening to Linda Ronstadt today. I wanted to get my ear tuned to what her voice was actually about because it had been such a long time.
Uh-huh.
And I have to say, Joe, I was blown away. She was really sounding good. Now I get the hype. Why people want to do something for her.
Yeah, she was the first real female rock star, and she was the one of the biggest rock stars in the country in the '70s and into the '80s. I mean, she filled stadiums, and her record sales were over 100 million. She set records for how many records were in the top 10 and platinum albums and things like that. And her songs are just she sang a number of cover versions, some classic rock and rhythm and blues that she loved. Those were big hits, and some original songs too. But her rock and roll and her kind of rock ballads were just kind of a part of her career. She went on to do a wide variety of things. She was in a Broadway musical, she was in an opera, she sang a trilogy from the Great American Songbook with Nelson Riddle, and then she did many others. She sang as a guest on over 150 albums,
Wow.
singing with everybody from Philip Glass to a duet with Homer Simpson. So she etched herself quite a career, and and all these things she did, she was continually told, "Linda, no, you can't do that. You're a rock and roll singer. It'll hurt your career." But she said, "I'm doing it anyway," and she did, and she grew up with a interest and an exposure to a wide variety of music, and she took that with her wherever she went.
So
Awesome.
recently we had a conversation, and I found this interesting because while I wasn't a huge Linda Ronstadt fan, pretty much anyone that sings, I can probably find a song or two that I like, and so I've liked some of her music. But what I didn't know that you shared with us was that she did a lot of covers, not just a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was unlike most of the rock and rollers of her day. She did not write her own stuff. She was an interpreter. But when she found a song, she made it hers. It became her song. I mean, one of the classic examples is the song Desperado. It's an Eagles song, who were buddies of hers and backup musicians. And Don Henley of the Eagles says, it was one of our best songs, but it wasn't a hit until Linda sang it.
Yeah. I love that song.
Yeah.
She did another Eagles tune too, or two, didn't she? Trying to think of the name of it, but I think I heard another one by the Eagles that she did.
Maybe, yeah. She did a lot of songs, and a lot of albums of all types. She had a wide variety of taste, and she did them all great.
So what was the process for deciding which songs you would include in your upcoming show?
Well, the show is kind of a chronological narrative, and actually, I've written and directed the show, but I'm acting in it too. I play a veteran rock and roll journalist who finally gets the chance to uh, meet and interview his unrequited love, Linda Ronstadt. I mean, she's older now. She has Parkinson's. She lives in some seclusion in the desert, but very early in the show, as we take her back to her first days in LA, she becomes the young woman, and she stays that way. So it's a chronological, kind of step through her career. And so we picked the songs that were most appropriate and illustrated what we were doing. We had to leave a few out. I watched, once again, there's a great documentary about her, a CNN documentary. I think it's called The Sound of My Voice. And I watched it again last night for about the fifth time in the last couple months. And heard, oh gosh, we left that one out, but too bad. But you can't do everything. I mean, she sang hundreds of songs, so you can only do a handful.
Sure, sure.
So we think we've hit the highlights. We've got a lot of great music.
Now
Were there
go ahead.
were there many personal things in her life that you might be touching on outside of music?
Yeah, it definitely. Well, one thing was her musical friendships. I mean, I mentioned the Eagles, but there's a lot of different people who she sang with and performed with, um, and as we say in the play, you never hear a bad word about her. Everybody loved her. Um, but we also touch on just a couple of the men in her life. She never married. Her mother said, "Don't marry. Live your own life." And once she started making that rock and roll money, she didn't have to think about a man. But she had some significant relationships, including Governor Jerry Brown of California when he was running for president. And she was right there along with him. Their relationship started during the campaign, and she was out there campaigning for him. That was a significant moment in her life. And then another guy she was with for, I think, 8 years was George Lucas, the man who created Star Wars.
Oh wow.
So they were there together a long time. She wound up adopting a couple of kids, so she became a mom. But yeah, we touch on those things, and primarily, her interest was music and the next great song. So most of the personal stuff were about her, kind of her left and right movements to like, well, what am I going to do next? What am I going to do now? And at one point, she was right at the height of her career, and she said, "I am tired of singing in football stadiums. I want to sing in a theater." And I want to sing a small theater, and I want to sing someplace where I don't have to travel every night. So she talked to a buddy of hers who was a music critic in New York, and he said, "Hey, talk to Joe Papp at the Public Theater." And they both loved Gilbert and Sullivan, and Joe Papp got her into that show, and that became a hit and a movie. She was nominated for a Tony Award. And so it's a lot of her professional like meanderings are some of the more personal things, along with some of the romantic things. As a reporter in the show, I try to get her to talk about a couple things like her relationship with Mick Jagger, which she would not really talk about. He helped her with the cover of their song "Tumbling Dice," but she did not want to talk about what happened between them.
Mhm. So is she uh would you categorize her as one of the all-time great vocalists? And if so, what genre would you put her in?
Yeah, I think rock pop would be her leading kind of genre. But yeah, absolutely one of the. I mean, her sales prove it. But as you said today, listening to her, her voice, can blow you away. She just had a lot of power. She could also be delicate, but yeah, she's absolutely one of the top female rock pop vocalists of all time.
So the young lady that's portraying her in this play, tell me a little bit more about her.
Yeah, Kelly is an actress, and as I said, she was out of town for a while. She was in New York and different places, but she's been back a couple of years now, and she's done a number of plays here in town. She was nominated for Best Supporting Actress a couple of years ago for her role in a show called Sweat at the Black Repertory Company, and then she was nominated for Best Actress Leading Actress in the show we did last summer. Um, called Rodney's Wife. That award ceremony is coming up in April, I think. But she's that good an actress. But she, she's always loved Linda Ronstadt, as I have too, and I think it's been a dream of her to do her, and she resembles her. And that's part of it. I mean, because she's playing her, and so she's going to be acting her. And Linda was a very unique personality, very straightforward and direct, and and she didn't beat around the bush. She just told you what she thought. And then Kelly can just sing the lights out. She's going to do a good job representing this world-class vocalist. And she's not only singing some of the great covers and great songs that she did, like "It's So Easy" and "Tumbling Dice" and Chuck Berry song and different songs like that. But she's had to learn some Gilbert and Sullivan and a Spanish song. Linda came from Tucson, and she was half Mexican. And her dad she grew up with her dad singing mariachi, so she always wanted to do a Mexican album, and she did. And near the end of her life and end of her career, and it was the biggest selling. That was another thing. Her record company said, "You can't do that. It's the biggest selling Mexican music album of all time."
Awesome. Did she play any instruments?
No. Although there's one clip in this documentary of her strumming a guitar. That's the only. But she was a singer, and she always had a backup band. The documentary goes into some things we don't touch really about how kind of it was her experience on the road with the guys, because it was all male bands, that backed up. There weren't many female musicians back in those days, and she said she had become one of the guys. She said she started talking like a truck driver. She didn't. She looks back and she's amazed at some of the language she used back then, but she became one of the guys.
So now, during that time, scandals were handled a little differently than we're doing that. Were there any major scandals that might be included in the play?
No, not really. She kind of avoided scandals, really. I think she was too honest a person and too, simple and loving a person. She really didn't, undermine anybody or do anything that she probably shouldn't have done. She was kind of straightforward. I mean, the papers did talk. I mean, she had an image. She was a great looking woman. And Annie Leibovitz took some amazing photos of her that were on the cover of Rolling Stone and other places, her lounging around in bed and, and wandering around in short cut off jeans and all kinds. And she was a real heartthrob. So they wrote, I think they guessed a lot about her personal life, but Linda's been quoted as saying, "Hey, I wish I'd done as much in bed as they said I did."
Well, let's see. Tell us about the schedule and a little bit about the venue.
Yes, we're at the Blue Strawberry. And if anyone hasn't been there, it is a cabaret space. It is on 364 Boyle. And it's just about a block or two off of Lindell, just a few blocks east of the Chase. It's a cabaret space that's been in operation for numerous years. They usually have somebody there every night, all kinds of music, a lot of national performers, a lot of local performers of all types. And we were kind of fortunate. We were able to talk them into letting us have like a mini theater run, 3 Wednesday nights in a row, March 1st, 8th, and 15th. The shows are at 7:30, and the Blue Strawberry, in addition to having a great music space, has a great menu and drink menu, so you can dine and drink as you watch the show. And we have a great band lined up too. I mean, I'd like to mention our band. Our pianist and musical director is Kurt Landis, and Tom Maloney is our guitar and bassist, and then Mark Rogers is percussion and backup vocals. And all these guys have incredible experience. They've backed up Chuck Berry, Johnny Johnson, Glenn Campbell, Jeremiah Johnson in town. I mean, a lot of people, and we're looking forward to quite a presentation.
So are tickets online or basically at the door?
I think you might be able to get them at the door. You should check, though. We're selling pretty fast. You can get tickets online at bluestrawberrystl.com. Or you can also call, I'll say this slowly, 314 256-1745.
Sounds good. Well, you got three performances. Leon and I have decided we're going to come, but we haven't picked one. So
Okay, great.
we'll definitely come down and support you guys.
Excellent.
I'm looking forward to it.
Be glad to have you. And, I can mention now, if you want to just kind of extend this a little bit, I'll be doing another cabaret show at the Blue Strawberry in late July, a show called You Made Me Love You, with a woman named Janelle Gilrath Owens. And it's basically a personal tribute to Judy Garland. Judy Garland sang the song You Made Me Love You to Clark Gable at a Hollywood birthday party when she was just a little kid. It kind of helped make her star, and she did that in a movie then. But in this show, Janelle will be singing this to Judy, to her talent and her career and her endurance and what she's learned from her and been inspired by. And Janelle will be talking about her own career and singing some of the great Judy Garland classics. That's in late July.
Very good. I do want to, for those people who, like myself, haven't done a lot of theater, gone to a lot of theater. There is a difference between cabaret and what was that, vaudeville?
No, I think you were thinking of burlesque, huh?
Burlesque, that's what it was.
Yeah,
yes, there is a difference between cabaret and burlesque.
Yes, indeed. Cabaret is often, a performer or a couple of performers honoring a singer, a songwriter doing their songs, or sometimes their own music. It's fairly straightforward music presentation. But we're trying to inject some theater into the cabaret experience and a story along with the songs.
Very good.
Excellent. Okay, well, did you have anything else, Joe? I know you got to run off to an appointment, but I think we covered most of the things you wanted to. Is that it?
I think so, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, we look forward to having you back because you're so busy and you're doing some great things. We want to thank you for coming out and sharing with us, and we'll definitely be in touch. And I'm looking forward to it.
Excellent. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, we want to mention one more time that you can, your website is
midnightcompany.com. There's information about the show and about some of the other shows we have coming up this year.
Excellent. Thank you very much for hanging out with us today, Joe.
Thanks for having me.
All right. See you next time, Joe.
You too.
All righty.
City Jazz Sessions is brought to you by St. Louis City Jazz, a 501c3 company dedicated to music education and appreciation. The CEO is Magic Man 50, and for more ways to connect with City Jazz Sessions, visit cityjazzsessions.wixsite.com/St. Louis. The City Jazz Sessions team includes host, content director, and guest coordinator, jazz great Ronnie Burrage. Follow Ronnie at ronnieburrage.biz. Host, website designer, graphic artist, content director, and guest coordinator, singing sensation Leica. Discover more about Leica at leicamusic.com. Additional production services are provided by Lions Den Productions. Go to thelionsdenstl.wixsite.com/home. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe for more great content.